We missed your bad word. It didn't happen. PKN, episode 160. Rick and Morty talk.
Yeah, man. So we had a bye week, so we had to go a week without Rick and Morty. But last night we got the supposed Atlantis adventure, but it was all a big misdirect. Of course, we go to the Citadel of Rick, and we get to see one of the most referential episodes thus far. You got Stand By Me, you got Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, you got Training Day. You had Back to the Future reference, and that's just the name of
the entire show is a Back to the Future reference.
Well, you got Marty McFly, Morty, as a character in there. You got House of Cards referenced. The list goes on, and of course, we get the return of evil Morty taking over, and we get to see what this the big bad of this season, the point of this season, the overall arc is going to lead to. I thought it was the best episode of this season for sure. And probably one of my favorite episodes ever.
One of your critiques of the season earlier was how referential it is. Did that bother you with this one? Because there were so many references and,
the references. I love the references. What I don't like is when an entire episode is just a parody. And there's a difference between being referential and being a parody of something. Like this episode used references to tell the story within their own arc and within their own sort of narrative, whereas some of the previous episodes, it's like, oh, well, this is just copying, something I've already seen before, like from beginning to end.
Okay.
And just putting Rick and Morty in, The Thing, or Rick and Morty in Wolf of Wall Street,
Was it a funny Rick and Morty, or was it like a sad or quote, unquote,
sad and dark,
deep or
sad,
dark or whatever?
Dark. Yeah, sad, deep, and dark.
Was it funny as well, or was it not one of those?
There was a laugh here and there, but it was mostly about getting the story told and showing you a lot of the behind the scenes, not behind the scenes of the show, but stuff that you might have been curious about. You got to see many, many iterations of Rick and Morty because you're at the Citadel of Rick, where there are tens of thousands of each. So so you remember the politician from years ago, the rent is too damn high. There's a rent is too damn high Rick, of course, and there's some shots at the current political or the previous political race in there. It was really interesting. You got to see basically evil Morty rise to power and become the president of the Citadel. And I really, really liked it. I like the misdirect too, because on their website it said, this is the Atlantis episode. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's another one-off. It might not even necessarily be our Rick and Morty. It could be any Rick and Morty just going to Atlantis. And the only tidbit you got out of that was that when they return from Atlantis, and you don't see Atlantis ever, you just see them splash through the portal with their flippies on and water comes out. And it's like, yeah, that mermaid puss. And Morty's like, oh, I hope we go back. I really liked her. He's like, oh, we are. We're going back every week for some more of that mermaid puss. And it's like, oh, okay. Morty lost his virginity this episode. I mean, he fucked that sex bot, a season or two ago, but that doesn't count. That wasn't alive.
I mean, but does fucking a fish count?
Mm-hmm.
You think so? You qualify that?
If half of it's human.
Okay. I mean, that's pretty generous.
Pretty uncharted territory. Maybe it should count as half.
He lost half of his virginity.
Yeah. There he is. He's got half of it left.
I guess it's like anal sex for a girl. You totally had sex, but I guess your hymen's still intact, so we'll go with it.
That's a workaround for God. Just because God only has a censor for the vagina.
I think Leviticus has something to say about bestiality that would come into play here with the mermaid sex. So probably God wouldn't look upon that smilingly either.
Well, God wouldn't look upon blowjobs or any kind of anal sex fondly, since that's all sodomy.
That's true. That's absolutely true. Yes.
Can you imagine how God must have been in a shit mood that day when he was making those rules? Because it's that you've been watching humans all day, every day, all the time. These are their favorite things to do. Mm-hmm. Humans love sodomy, and then you pretend all of it is bad sodomy. No. There's lots of good sodomy out there. Lots of good anal between consenting partners. Lots of good blowjobs and eating out. It's a lot of fun, but not for God.
Maybe God's bad at it. Maybe that's why.
Because there's no female God, right? So he's just fucking lonely.
As far as I know, God has only had sex once, and he had to sneak into some other guy's house to make it happen, and like trick her with a light show, and he had to send his wingman in anyway, right? A literal wingman. He sends the angel in to fucking, hey, big boss gonna be swinging by in a few minutes. Make him happy, you know. Like that's the only time we know that God's ever had sex. So I think he's just a bad lay, and that's what all that shit's about.
It could be. Could be maybe also a bad cook. That's why he wouldn't allow shellfish or pork, because he couldn't get it right.
That definitely goes back to like the superstition, you know, back in the old days when the food preparation and stuff. And those are filthy animals, right?
Yeah, it was definitely easier to get sick back then.
Yeah.
I saw, I don't know where it was. It was probably on Reddit or Twitter, but I saw this this post, like a food post from this girl, and it was pictures of chicken tenderloin that you can buy, and she was like, I've never tried my chicken medium rare before. It's great.
Saw
and
that.
I was like, oh my God, like you're in for a bruising in the bathroom, if not an actual hospital visit from just a loss of fluids from vomiting and shitting. So like, how stupid do you have to be? You deserve it.
She would love my chicken sushi.
Yeah. I've seen that. I swear, I think I've seen that
So
post
gross.
as well. Like
Yeah,
that may have been
I got
how
it from
she
Reddit.
yeah. Like those people don't deserve to be warned. There's this. Maybe it's just innate in human beings that like when you see someone fucking up, or when you see someone who has a slight bit of ignorance that you don't have, you want to be, oh, look, I know what you're doing is wrong. Here's the real answer. No, you got it all wrong. It's this way. We all need to rein that back a little bit and let these people die. Like when you see that person like texting into traffic, just go, and watch. Just watch. Just watch it go down. There's no Seinfeld laws in real life. Just let them walk into the traffic, and by the same rights.
Oh, they're walking. I thought they were driving in this scenario, and I'm like, you know, you're really taking risks with other people in this.
No, the only risk.
I'm like, that's risky. Yeah, that's what you get. You rear end that other poor lady. You know, who wasn't doing anything. But I'm vindicated.
Yeah, so when I see someone eating chicken sushi or whatever, I'm not tempted to type anything. It's enjoy. Oh yeah, it's really good, huh? Yeah, enjoy.
I mean, yeah, you do have to be pretty stupid to eat raw chicken.
Not stupid, uneducated, right? Like I suppose they're one and the same in a bit, but there are things that you have to be taught. You know, like, oh, you can eat raw cow, but you can't eat raw chicken. That's not intuitive to me. That's something that I have to learn from someone telling me.
That's fair. I'm just so used to seeing on every package of chicken I've ever seen, like, do not consume like this. You gotta cook it. You gotta cook it. And it's like that's the way it is. It doesn't say that on fish containers usually, and if it does, they're just hedging their bets, because you could eat a piece of salmon raw and feel fine. Well, maybe not feel fine if you eat gorge on a giant.
You can eat beef raw. You can eat beef raw. You know, beef tartare. You can eat it raw. Just take it. It doesn't matter.
Rick and Morty talk did not last that long, now did it? It was
Well,
maybe 3 minutes.
What did you think?
You
Woody?
know, so people are saying it's literally the single best episode in like out of all of them so far. This is the best episode of Rick and Morty that's ever been. And I watched it and I thought it was good, but maybe I just have an unrefined Rick palate or something, because I kind of like all the episodes. Like, I liked Pickle Rick as much as this one. I'll get that this one kind of made me pay more attention, but that scene at the end where Rick insults the therapist and the therapist sort of lays out who Rick is and why, like, the whole family uses their intelligence as both a crutch and a curse, and the whole, like, that was deep, real talk that I liked a lot. This one maybe didn't have as deep moments to me as that one did, but it had plenty of dark twists, and the whole, I haven't seen, aside from the divorce stuff, the greater narrative progress much, you know, like what's going on with all these Ricks and Mortys in the other universes until this episode. Maybe that's what people like so much. I don't know.
Which one is this? Like, how many more are left?
It's
7. This was 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's 2 or 3 left. You had Sam Elliott in there narrating for the Simple Rick stuff over at Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I thought that was cool. They're manufacturing this candy bar by like keeping this one Rick in a state of like coma while he just he's on a loop remembering his happiest memory, and then they take his brain juice and put a little bit in every bar. And like Sam Elliott's narrating the commercial for that. And like I love all the movies that were referenced. So when I see like the Training Day reference, like I'm like, oh, this is awesome. The fucking Training Day Morty's Denzel Washington, and then I see the Stand By Me thing with like River Phoenix and the whole gang, and like each of them looks like they're characters from that movie. That really gets it done for me. I enjoyed that. I liked who's the Apple guy who died of cancer because he
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs, Rick. That was kind of funny. I like seeing him. There's a little bit of a teaser that, there's this ongoing fan theory that I guess I shared, that Rick and Morty are the same person. That when Morty grows up, he becomes a Rick. That they're not grandfather and grandson. They are one and the same. And so like you see two hints at that. There's the part where a baby Morty is handed over, and he's like, and it looks just like Rick. And there's a part where there is a retarded Rick in the school, in the Hogwarts style school where the Mortys are trained to like go to new Ricks who have lost their Mortys for one mishap or another. And so there's the retarded Rick in there.
Did they call him retarded in any way? Like, to me,
they call him Simple Rick. And
Simple
he's drooling,
Rick, yeah.
and
Simple Rick.
And he's big. He's a full-grown
drools.
adult crammed into a child's desk. And he's like, "Did I graduate this time?" And they're like, "Will."
There's a classroom that trains Mortys to be Mortys, and there's a Rick in there, Simple Rick. And so yeah, I don't know.
And so that's supposed to be a hint that they're the same person, you think?
Well, the hint is that the teacher, which is a Snape from Harry Potter ripoff, he slips up at first and he calls him Big Morty instead of Tall Rick, and he quickly corrects himself. So there's two of those little references in that episode. They don't write something without it having a meaning. This thing is full of little. If you look at the background of any big shot where there are lots of characters, and you see how many little hints and clues to like random shit there are. They hide testicles and penises and vaginas everywhere whenever there's like an alien landscape or something. So like, yeah, I feel like they don't
do a good job of hiding those dicks and vaginas and boobs, because the South Park episode where Kenny goes to like Boobtopia.
Yes.
Or whatever, when he's sniffing the cat pee and he gets high, and like all the spires are like Aladdin style but with a nipple on the top.
Yeah.
And all the like soldiers have like big tits, even if they're like ogre looking things. Like, everything just has tits.
Yeah.
That is equally subtle to most of the Rick and Morty landscapes, where like it'll just be a giant ball sack, but then just like a weird spine on the side, so they can be like, it's not a ball sack, it's something else.
I could be on the wrong path with the analogy, but there was a Rick who was a Morty, and then there was a Morty who was a Rick. To me, like, that's how I saw it, the evil Morty. And I'm like, is there some connection between them, a swaparoo of some sort? I don't know.
One of them was really, like, just the opposite of every other pair, where the Morty was super smart and the Rick was super dumb.
I'm probably wrong, because I haven't seen this theory floated anywhere else. So, like, if you're driving on the highway and everyone else is going the opposite direction, probably not everyone else is wrong. But, there's a Morty who runs for president, and he's every bit as clever as a Rick, it would seem, evil Morty. And then there's a Rick in the classroom who's every bit as dumb as a Morty. And I just look, I'm like, oh, look, they swapped those two. There's a Rick and a Morty body and a Morty and a Rick body. But no one else says that, so I don't know.
Yeah,
that makes more sense to me
Morty
than
from
that he's the same person.
You remember Evil Morty, though, right?
Yeah, sure. Well, you could see his dossier at the end of in the last few screenshots.
But you remember his previous episode where
he used all the other
the
Mortys
wires.
as cover, and he pushes the wires back like Taylor said. Sure, I remember Evil Morty. I just what's Evil Morty's backstory though? Like, what makes
we don't know. It's completely mysterious.
Okay,
that's why this is such a big reveal.
So my goofball theory works as well as the next one, I would say. Maybe a Rick and Morty got swapped somehow.
I like it more because they have an infinite number of pairings that, like, I saw, like, some of them just show up and they're black or Asian or a different race now, or reptilian. Like,
well,
it makes more sense that you'd see like
combined with a lizard.
Because I do like when they do those like pan shots in those kind of shows, and there's like a ton of different stuff hidden in the background because like it's just very detailed animation. It keeps my attention. I like that. And seeing a really smart Morty and a really dumb Rick actually fits into that, infinite possibilities, I guess so, kind of narrative. Whereas if I found out that Morty and Rick were the same person, I would think, this is stupid. This is a stupid twist. It doesn't make any sense.
Why wouldn't it make sense?
How could it possibly?
Well, I mean, he's an interdimensional traveler who has for some
So
reason
his
sworn off
mom
time
gave
travel.
birth to him in
We don't
every
know that.
reality.
Well, see, they've never really given us any background story
And
to
they ha-
like. One of the big mysterious parts of Rick and Morty is where the fuck was Rick throughout all of Morty's childhood? You know,
And
that's
they don't do time travel, right?
They don't.
Yeah, they do interdimensional travel, but not time travel. So if they did time travel, then I haven't fully thought it through, but I can see a scenario where like he comes back and becomes his own grandfather. I mean, hell, they almost did that in Back to the Future, right? You fuck your mom.
Yeah.
Then I don't know, but without time travel, I can't wrap my head around how it could happen.
Yeah, I don't understand it either. But I mean, it's just a show that's so ridiculous that they could explain it in any way, and you
Well,
just
but
be like,
double
yeah, I
love
guess
dub.
so. You're like, well, Morty, you're not understanding the quantum flux of this. He's burping, and you're like, oh, I guess the quantum flux of it, you know,
Yeah,
did whatever
the
it needed
quantum
to do.
flux burp. Wish they had said that in season 1. I'd have known all along.
I hate, like, I like his voice, and it's really funny to me, but the burping, there's something about when characters burp loudly. Opie from the Opie and Anthony show used to do that, where he'd like burp into the mic every once in a while, because Howard used to do it too in like the 90s or 80s rather, and I hate that so much. The sound of someone burping, it's just rude. Like
Not a fan.
if I burp in real life, like I turn to the side and I'm, you know, unless I'm like with a family member or something, I'll just burp. But
I'm
like,
so happy to hear this. Oh my God.
Good.
Everyone seems to be a giant belching fan. I see people burp on YouTube videos. The comments are filled with what a nice one that was and all these like, you know, positive feedback and affirmation. And I'm like, really? Oh, there's nothing grosser to me. And to be honest, like, I in my head, I could be wrong. I thought the Rick and Morty burping backed off a bit, but by season 1, maybe I just got used to it. They was burping so much it was like perhaps the biggest downside to the show. Like if I had to pick one thing I'd change, I'd be like I would like him to burp less. You know?
yeah,
I
it's
don't-
like every 2 lines.
Yeah.
I don't mind that Rick burps, but I don't like it when real human beings burp.
Okay.
There's difference to me, I guess.
It's not a real burp either, right? He's just saying "erp" or something, you know.
I think he's like, I don't know. Some people can like swallow some air and like force a burp. I don't know how he does his voice.
I can do
acting
that.
exactly,
And you know
but
what? I never
Don't.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I stopped when I
Oh,
was
that's the other-
13.
That's one of the other interesting things. Like I watched the whole episode, and after it was over, I was like, well, I didn't come to the realization myself, I suppose. But you know, the first thing I read online was like, that entire episode was Justin talking to himself. There wasn't a single other character in the entire episode. There's none of the
This
female.
most recent one?
Yeah. It's him talking to himself the entire episode because it's all Rick and Morty. There's no other character throughout the.
I didn't understand until yeah, it was the same voice actor. There was the voiceover guy.
Sam Elliott, yeah, that's the guy from Tombstone, the guy
Uh-huh.
from Big Lebowski.
He's in something about the Pope, like the Borgias, I think. That show.
I don't.
Yeah, Kyle's like 98% of that show was just one voice actor.
Are you thinking of Sam Neill,
Oh, I am
the
thinking
guy
of
from
Sam Neill.
Jurassic Park? Yeah.
Sam Elliott is the guy who played the
Big
tobacco
mustache.
Marlboro Man in Thank You for Smoking, right?
I've only seen that once. He's got a big mustache and everything. He looks like a cowboy. He was Virgil Earp in Tombstone. He was
Yeah, that's him.
yeah.
73.
He's got that old timey cowboy voice.
He does.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to the next, the rest of the season of this thing. I was really feeling down on Rick and Morty until this episode. I had really disliked this entire season, quite a bit. I do like seeing that our Morty, like the main Morty. I can't recall the dimension that we're from. C-136, I think. That Morty is getting smarter and smarter. And crueler and crueler. He himself is becoming more and more like the evil Morty, though they're certainly not the same person. But I'm digging that too.
Well, is
Do
he
you
getting
think this
smarter,
is-
or was it just the one episode where he removed
No,
all
he's
his
get-
negative stuff?
No, he's getting. I wasn't even thinking of that episode. He's getting smarter. You saw him trick Rick when he sends Rick off on that adventure with his father. You know, he tells his mom, he's like, God, I lied to Rick and sent him off on an adventure just so I could get away from this bullshit for one fucking day. And here you are, you know, there's my sister's been blown up enormous, and you're being ridiculous about the shrinking ray and everything. So
Okay, good point.
yeah, I like the show. I see the Szechuan sauce everywhere. I know they went on the H3 podcast and they raffled some off, and then I saw that Binging with the Babish, that YouTube channel. I don't know if you're familiar. He cooks things from TV shows and movies, like you know, ridiculous things, the food items. And in previous episode, he had created a Szechuan sauce based on like what he thought it would be, but someone actually sent him some, so he had the real Szechuan sauce. And everybody says the same thing. They're like, eh.
Yeah, if you offered me, like if I went to McDonald's and got my nuggets and they were like, we've brought the Szechuan sauce back, would you like to try? I'd be like, nope, just Buffalo again. Thanks anyway. Like,
Buffalo sauce.
there's no way that there, and the Buffalo sauce there is by no means good. It's just better than the
I
other
haven't
stuff
had
they
it
have.
forever. I'm a honey guy.
You're a
Honey
guy?
is so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes
Burger
it
King-
so much worse for you, though, doesn't it?
Fucking
Like,
who cares?
Oh,
We're
no,
eating
it's
chicken nuggets.
nature.
that's
Thank
true.
you.
Just don't feed it to babies.
I didn't know that.
I
You
like
can't feed
that
honey
honey
to
a
babies.
lot. When I was a kid, it was always honey. And at Burger King too. I don't know if you remember Burger King's nuggets, but they were shaped like, I don't know, your pinky finger, like exactly like
They were
that.
chicken fries. Yeah.
I'm very familiar with the chicken fry that they had maybe a year or two ago. Not
Very
that.
familiar.
It was a different. It was a more meaty chicken
You might
product.
not
with
know.
less-
One of my degrees is in chicken fries.
I know my Burger King business. Okay? And I'd always dip those in the honey. But the last time I got McDonald's chicken nuggets, I remember like my cousin and I were like, this has been 12 years ago or something like that. But we were like at McDonald's late at night, like 2 a.m, starving, and it was like, give us a 50-piece nugget. Yeah, we want the 50-piece. And they're like, huh, okay. Let me see if I can find you a 50-piece box. And I was like, that exists? And they come out with a bucket. They had a McDonald's bucket that like up on top of a shelf that like folded out like a transformer, and I'd never seen one before. And so from then on, like when we go there late night, we'd get the bucket, because the best part is they're like, what kind of sauce would you like? And I'm like, well, it's 50 nuggets, ma'am. Maybe a few of everything. And my mouth's watering. she put in 2 or 3 of every sauce they had, and we just parked the truck and like crack open every single sauce on the dashboard of the truck, and we're just like trying them all. And it's like, yeah, get a little ranch and then the buffalo. Oh yeah.
How many combinations and permutations are available in this? I don't know.
Yeah, you're just seeing numbers in your head, trying to imagine
right?
it all. Yeah,
Does this
that is
calculator
not-
have an exclamation point on it?
I don't like every time I get a big meal at McDonald's though, or any fast food place, like I build it up in my head to like, oh, this is gonna be so good because it's so bad for me, and I get like maybe 5 bites in, and I'm like, I don't feel good, and I feel like I can feel guilt creeping in. It's not good enough to warrant
I'm still
it.
stuck on the idea that honey's worse for you than buffalo sauce. And Taylor didn't say worse. He said so much worse. Now I get that it's sugar, right? I also like there's something about sugars that I
No,
don't.
they're both probably equally
don't-
bad.
I'm with
But-
Woody on this one.
The thing is,
Honey has got to be better for you.
it's just if it comes in a sealed package and it's food, it's probably awful for you. And I can't think of anything more like processed and non-food anymore than buffalo sauce. It's
That's true. Like, let me see. Like, well, you got 20 calories in a teaspoon of honey, and
okay.
you've got in the McDonald's Buffalo.
I know it's gonna be 20 or so.
It tastes good too.
It probably has sugar in it.
If they add sugar to honey, then they should.
It's
No,
burn-
to buffalo
it's 30
sauce.
calories for a whole pack, but a whole
It's
pack
certainly-
is like 3 different. It's like 3 tablespoons or something.
It doesn't matter. The honey's got to be better for you than whatever. There's preservatives and chemicals and multiple ingredients to make that buffalo
Yeah,
sauce.
you're right. I've reneged on that ridiculous claim that McDonald's Buffalo is better than honey for you. Neither one is going to be winning you any marathons or health awards. Like, it's not, because I remember when I was a kid when we got chicken rings from. Cause you ever had chicken rings from
No, I don't think so.
White Castle?
Oh no, I
I
don't.
don't
We don't
think
have
I've
White
ever
Castle.
eaten at White Castle.
Oh, you don't have White Castle?
We
Well, we
have
got
it.
those. They would like bring those in for lunch, and the only thing they had to dip them in was honey. And looking back, like the fact that we were eating, God, once every 10 days of school or whatever the rotation was, White Castle chicken rings. It's like, what were they doing? We're all shorter than we otherwise would have been if they would have given us a chicken breast.
Imagine a world where segregation just ended, right? Now this diner can no longer legally bar black people from entering it. So you're technically allowed, but you're not welcome there. The inverse of that is White Castle in New Jersey. I have never been to a White Castle, but like if I were to walk in there, everyone would be like, What's Honky think he's doing here?
Is that what it is like there? It's all black people in White Castle?
From the 50s, apparently. Who say honky.
Who say honky.
I know none of us were there for the segregation, but I have it in my head that it wasn't a bunch of mean old restaurant owners that were racist. I have it in my head that it was Jim Crow laws that literally required those restaurants to enforce segregation.
I have it in my head that it was market demand, that it was a general vibe amongst the customers who preferred not to have black people. In the same way that, like, when you were allowed to smoke in a restaurant, a lot of restaurants didn't have smoking, or they just stuck them in some shitty corner next to the door. Because a lot of customers would feel like if it was a smoky environment, they'd rather not be there. So that
changed that as well. That was a law thing. There would still be smoking area.
Yeah, but pre-law, smoking was either small and like off to the side or not there, according to me.
We still have smoking in some like restaurants and bars in a couple areas here.
Yeah, I like it when there's smoking in a restaurant or a bar. The last time I remember
would ruin it.
I remember being in Pizza Hut and they just had like. They split the restaurant in half, and there was no actual divider. It was just like on the other side of this booth, they're all smoking them up over there, and the smoke's just wafting over on your family's table. Everybody's like, if the pizza doesn't give us cancer, those Marlboros will.
Yeah. I mean, I totally get it. Like, I don't mind smoking in restaurants while I'm eating that much, as long as someone's not blowing the smoke in my face, because I just don't mind the smell of cigarettes that much. My grandparents smoked in the house always when we were growing up, and so I just remember that smell. But like, if you really don't like cigarette smoke, it's really douchey of you to smoke indoors. You know like you're forcing everybody else to deal with your shit.
You know where I prefer there to be smoking? Strip clubs. It adds to the ambiance, the atmosphere. It's already a skanky fucking situation. So yeah, everybody should be lighting up. There should be a little fog of smoke in the air.
Yeah, I'm with you on fog machines. But cigarette smoke?
No, fog machines.
No, we're going to save so much on fog machines, you won't believe it. Hi, I'm Harvey Firestein, the owner of this establishment. Apparently.
No, to me, cigarettes are always a negative. There's no scenario in which they're positive. I appreciate the odd cigarette person who's aware of where their smoke is going outdoors, right? There's a lot of smokers who just smoke and figure I'm outdoors, fuck everyone else, I can do what I want to. Fuck that guy. Like Taylor said, he's the one forcing me to deal with his cancer bullshit. If you see your smoke heading in my direction, fucking walk your happy ass away from here, because you're the asshole. We play Am I the Asshole sometimes? The smoker, 110% of the time, is an asshole for making me deal with his smoke.
If they're standing there like 6 feet to your right as you're trying to eat with a group of people, and they're like, hey, I'm outside, fuck it. I'm 6 feet away from the building, so I'm legal. It's like, you could, like, you're making smokers are already pretty reviled by a lot of society. And so it's like, you want to be a good ambassador for smokers as a smoker, right? So fucking move. Yeah. Like, just go downwind 6 feet. Be considerate.
I feel like I feel bad for smokers when I see them now, and when my friends have to like go smoke somewhere, because like especially at the airports, it's like you'll ask a cop like where can I smoke? Because I've seen people get tickets for smoking outside of the airport, and they're like 2 miles that way. There's a little box. Yeah. You're gonna want to sit on that dildo and ride that while the one sparkling with electricity. Sit on the electric dildo, and it doubles as a lighter. Just. They really put you in the shittiest of places, and I really when I did smoke, like if you're about to get on a flight to like LA, God, you really want to get that nicotine hit before you get on this plane. It calms you down, gets you in a happy place before you cram on board with all these other motherfuckers. And Atlanta, and I don't know which terminal, but they've got a room you go into with like it's like they've got ventilation sucking straight up with such fervor that it's nonstop.
It's
and
like
you
a
hear it.
hood from chemistry class where they just like pull it
Yes.
out.
If you took your pack of cigarettes and just lobbed it up with a little effort, it would just it'd be gone. And I can remember, like, I've stepped in those things a couple times, and I wouldn't have a cigarette because, like, I wasn't planning to be smoking in the airport terminal, and I like to be as, like, slimmed down with what's in my pockets as possible. I'm going through security.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you ask a smoker to bum a cigarette, they are so happy to provide one. There's some kind of a brotherhood amongst smokers where, like, if you need a cigarette, I've never ever in my life either been turned down for a cigarette, and I've never turned anyone down for a cigarette. It could be a bum, it could be like a race of person that I hate.
Irish. Yeah.
An Irishman could come up to me. I'd give him one right away. Like yeah, and I mean I'd spit on his hand when he wouldn't take it, but
As you do.
but it's good luck. But I'd let him take it.
I was in the airport today, and I saw one of those like tobacco areas where you can smoke in there, and they also sold cigars. And I haven't had a cigar in forever. I don't really smoke them that much, but for some reason I'm like, oh, that would be neat. Like get one of those. I got some time to kill. And then I look through the window at the individuals that I would be sharing this space with, and I was like, maybe another time. it was like 7 people, all in their 60s. And all of them just puffing their cigarettes, blowing it like the kind of smoker who's not even pretending, like, elegance and relaxation. Like the kind of smoker who's been smoking 2 packs a day since 1957. And so they're just trying to tear through those things. And it's like nobody in that entire area has a cigar. Those are all people with cigarettes. And
Denver has a smoking area. I remember appreciating that. But then Vegas has one too. But Vegas, like, you would think in Sin City they would give you a nicer smoking area, but it's literally a plexiglass cube in the middle of it's like surrounded by foot traffic. If that makes sense, it's like where one of those you'd go to get your yeah. Well, it's in the area of the airport where you'd like go out in the center to like get your feet massaged or sit in a vibrating chair or something. But instead they've got a gigantic glass cube, and you go into it, and it's sucking the air up, of course. But it had double doors like Star Trek. Like you'd go through one set, and then there was another set, so none of your evil could escape into the rest of the airport.
It's got an airlock.
Cigarettes
There's slot
suck.
machines in there.
You know
There's
where-
slot machines in the smoking area.
Of course.
They know these people have problems with vices.
The cigarette smoker that bugs me that I actually campfire. If I'm at the campfire, the cigarette smokers just love fucking firing up cigarettes by the campfire. And it's always an issue. Like that shit's blowing on other people constantly.
That's
yeah.
it's like the one place I have no problem at all, because I smell the fire smoke. To me, overpowers any cigarette or cigar smoke, unless it's like a big stogie or something.
It's coming right at me, you know. Like if it's not coming to me, then I don't care, right? You know, because it's possible for it to just go up. But yeah, if I'm smelling your fucking cigarette next to the campfire, I love it. And you've ruined it, you asshole. You are the asshole, undeniably. You're ruining this campfire for me. And I fucking hate it so much. Whenever I hear like cigarette taxes go up, or you're like, oh my god, now a carton's $100. I don't even know if that's like a lot more than it used to be, but I'd be like, yeah, fine, make it 200. I don't give a fuck, right? One of two things will happen: we'll have more tax money for good shit, and assholes will be paying for it, or they'll stop smoking and maybe not be assholes anymore.
Yeah, maybe be a little healthier.
Yeah, there's no cigarette tax I've ever not liked, and I don't know. Yeah, you were the.
We have like the lowest.
If
cigarette
cigarettes were
taxes in the country.
injectable, I wouldn't care because it'd be a private decision, right? But they're not. This is a thing you're doing for everybody. Oh, and by the way, it is very rare that a cigarette smoker does not just leave his trash everywhere. I find that we have a big military population here because of Fort Bragg, and sometimes military people really clean it up. They like put it out on the bottom of their shoe and put it in their pocket, and that's a thing.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, the guy that came to put in your siding, I guarantee you there's fucking 80 cigarette butts in your yard right now because that asshole doesn't think twice about it. He doesn't think cigarette butts are trash.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they
I'm
just
trying
think
to
it's
think.
part of the environment.
I remember doing that. I remember being at somebody's place and doing the thing you just described, where I put it out on my shoe till it was all really good and gone, and then pocketing it.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think who I was treating with that level of respect or whatever. But I've definitely done that. I'm really spaced on where I was when that happened. But yeah, like I was always conscious of, the smoke, first of all, because if you're not smoking and there's smoke, it's disgusting. And I don't mean if you're a non-smoker. I mean if you're not in the business, in the act of smoking one.
Oh.
Like you can be a smoker, and secondhand smoke is disgusting. It's a whole different animal than smoking a cigarette. When you go through the filter, it's a smooth, flavorful, enriching situation, and your brain is immediately hit with lots of pleasurable chemicals that give you exactly what you want.
There's a little
no matter what
Pavlonian
you
thing
think.
going on there too, right? Like, it could taste like shit hypothetically, but if your brain gets like a real wonderful dopamine reward, then you might start to associate that with something good.
Yeah, definitely.
Perhaps, although I will say, like, if I would ever run out of my particular brand of cigarettes and I had to smoke Kitty's brand, it was like, do I really want this? Like so many times I would take like 2 puffs of her Camel Turkish Silver or Marlboro Light or American Spirit Orange or whatever she's smoking, and be like, oh, the taste is on my tongue now. It's like smoking. It's like burning cardboard. It's
What
so
what
disgusting.
brand did you use?
I
First one.
always like the early days of my cigarette smoking, and the thing that really got me addicted was working with all those black guys, and everybody at the car dealership smoked menthols. It was Newports and Cools and Marlboro menthols. There was nothing else, and so I really enjoy menthol cigarettes. And so like last time I smoked, it was Marlboro Smooth, which is the light blue pack of Marlboros, and they taste like peppermint. They are very tasty. My mouth's watering again.
Mine's kind of watering too. Huh?
Woody's gonna go out and buy one and be like, let's see. Oh, peppermint! What an asshole! Not even.
No,
close.
what if he goes, oh goddamn! Not only does that taste like a fucking peppermint, but does my foot feel better?
Oh,
Holy shit,
dude!
I can walk.
Jackie, come in here.
We all know they're unhealthy,
You gotta try
right?
this.
So I'm seeing doctors a lot now. I had physical therapy today, and I had it last week, and I see doctors and whatever, and all of them are like, do you smoke? No. And they're like, oh my God. And they have these like tales of how awful smoking is for your bones and your joints, and how it would dramatically impact the way I heal from this and my prognosis and all this. And it's like, oh my God. Like, I knew it was bad for your lungs, and I knew it was bad for your heart, and kind of just bad in general. I had no idea that it wrecks your bones, and that smoking and bone health are just really linked in, and joints. It's
Yeah,
I wonder what
it's one of those things where like the more they look into it, there's never going to be a point where there was. If you're at risk for some neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's, smoking helps reduce the risk of that. If you if you might, it's something to do with the nicotine, not like the actual, tar and shit like that.
Okay.
But the nicotine somehow can delay the onset of like Parkinson's or Huntington's or stuff like that. But like, they're never going to find out, like, oh, turns out smoking like wasn't as bad as we thought, guys.
It's
all
not headed
good.
that way.
Like,
No.
The more that they research it, the more they're like, how we thought I had like a lung problem? It also like makes your fingers shitty and and your circulation's bad, and so you're gonna have cold feet or whatever. Like, I don't know. It would be so much better of a world if nobody ever figured that out. If whatever guy started smoking that, like, had just kept it to himself and been like, this is pretty good, but who knows the ramifications? And they're like, Sitting Bull, what are you doing? He's like, no, mind your own business. We're gonna eat corn.
Yeah.
I wonder how far back it goes. I bet it goes back tens of thousands of years. Because I saw that thing about that Iceman that they found, and he had the pouch of marijuana, and that was at least 10,000 years ago. He was an Iceman who had like from his physiology, you could tell that he had been like shot with a stone-tipped arrow and like survived battles that were like prehistoric type battles. He had all these wounds and all these joint issues. Maybe from no, he was smoking marijuana though. Maybe it was helping him with his joint issues.
I'm surprised. So in my mind, marijuana smoking is pretty widespread, right? Even amongst adults, like a lot of people smoke it. And I haven't they just ask if you smoke. They don't ask what you smoke or where you are. And I feel like doctors need to get on board with the reality that this is a common thing. They don't ask about it. Maybe it doesn't have the same ramifications as cigarette smoking, and they
It
care
doesn't
less.
at all. Oh yeah, it in no way has the same ramifications. Like cigarettes have additives in them that are the things they add to cigarettes are the bad stuff. Like tobacco, like it's not like you could just grow your own tobacco and you'd be okay. Like just smoking tobacco is bad for you for a lot of reasons. Putting that in you is bad. But they add chemicals and tar and stuff, and that's
bleach and
in a lot
ammonia, and
and that stuff never makes sense to me. Like I wonder
Yeah.
how much of it's true because there's no the people who are anti-cigarette would never be like, well, actually that thing they're doing there is kind of good for you. That's a good additive they added. They'd never tell you the truth if there was some
cinnamon.
good stuff about
Yeah.
cigarettes. Yeah. Oh yeah, a little nutmeg.
sounds
in
good
there.
actually.
Then you would enjoy clove cigarettes. That's what clove cigarettes
I
are.
probably wouldn't.
Those
You'd be-
smell horrible.
Really?
I can tell when somebody nearby is smoking a clove cigarette
Of course
because
you
I'm
can.
like,
It's aromatic and
I
wonderful.
wish that was just a regular cigarette. There's something about the smell of clove that I'm like, oh, it smells like an old person or someone from the past. I don't know what it is.
Oh, they'll come back around. I've watched whiskey get popular with the kids. Clove
Yeah,
cigarettes. Yeah, like your children will be like, clove cigarettes are where it's at, Dad. And you won't get
They
it.
might.
Yeah, but
Hopefully they
marijuana
won't.
smoke in no way has the same health ramifications as tobacco smoke. If it did, the federal government would have,
Well,
laid that out there by now.
It seems
also,
like
people who smoke cigarettes, like, I don't know what the average amount of cigarettes someone smokes a day. If they're a smoker, like maybe a pack, maybe less. I don't know. But like a pack, that's 20 of them. That's 20 things you're smoking throughout the day. Like that's a lot of smoke by volume going in and out of your lungs. Whereas with marijuana, I don't know anybody except for maybe like Snoop Dogg who rolls 20 marijuana cigarettes and then roasts them all day.
That's
Like,
a good
just-
point. An average
But there's-
cigarette smoker would be a professional level marijuana smoker.
Yeah, like a Snoop Dogg or Wiz Khalifa or one of those guys who like makes their whole identity like, yeah, I love pot.
or Cheech and Chong, there's
Mhm.
plenty of those guys out there.
Willie
And none of
Nelson.
them have gotten sick, right? Like Willie Nelson, like those guys who have been smoking enormous amounts of weed for generations.
Tommy Chong has cancer, doesn't he?
Doesn't
What kind,
didn't
though?
Willie Nelson get really sick too? Am I crazy?
Yeah, how old is he? Because he's getting to the point where getting really sick is like you kind of.
It's par for the course, right?
He's like 87.
Yeah.
Something like
Yeah, I hear your point.
Oh yeah, he's 84. If he's really sick, it's just because he's 84,
right.
probably.
Yeah. I'm surprised that marijuana is not the more widespread one. Now, I don't really have, I'm not the guy to talk about either one of these, but one thing I do know about marijuana is the plant grows fairly easily. It grows in like every climate, everywhere. It's
Why they
not,
call it weed?
I never thought of that, but how did I not put that together? Like, yeah, you'd be shocked to learn that weed grows just about everywhere. And but it still seems like tobacco is the more widely consumed one. I don't know why that. Like now, I understand why it is because there's rules and stigmas and laws and stuff. But let's go back to when these things were getting started. Why wasn't pot the more widespread one back in like 1000 BC?
I don't know.
maybe it was at 1000 BC, but like why wasn't it in the Old West? Like back when
Mhm.
in the Old West when they go in there and like slam your coin on the table, whiskey, dry. Like why weren't they like 3 joints, big,
Three big joints.
sticky?
I want the best weed that you have in 1810. Which is
It
gonna
probably would be like Mexican weed now. I mean, like, it's my. So, look, what I know I read from like Vice.com or something, but if you get like Colorado weed, it's awesome. It's super strong. You really got to know your limit and crazy stuff like that. If you get weed that's imported from Mexico, it's like some guy with a fucking tractor knocked over 6 trees, grew it in a little food plot. There's deer saliva on it, and they ship it to you. Like, it's just, it's not a
It's a
farm,
different-
it's a food plot.
I
And
think
it's like a
that's more
different level
about
of inebriation. Maybe it was like a social norm thing that like you didn't want to be a cowboy out there high as a kite, losing calves and whatnot. And
Oh,
whereas
yeah.
you could be Mr.
come on.
Cigarette guy and just smoking a cigarette and you're not gonna,
Well,
I'm
I'm
not saying like
comparing
it's
alcohol.
it's weed or him just. I don't think cowboys are just guzzling whiskey out
They
on
do
the.
I don't know what they did, right? Because the movies are just fucking
Do
lying
any of
to
us?
Based on the movies, they it was either campfire songs or raping whores. I'm not
Yeah,
sure. Like, and I don't know what happened in the middle.
You can
I've
think of
watched
it
a
like a-
documentary or two, and being called a daisy is actually a compliment.
Daisy?
It's from
I didn't know
Tombstone.
that.
Val Kilmer said it, and I did the research on it. And that's the thing. You're a daisy if you
Yeah.
do. I'm like, what does he mean? You're a daisy if you do. He would mean that you're quite a clever, splendid guy.
Daisy if you do.
Yep.
Yo,
But that didn't stick around. Yeah, that's another silly saying.
I'll be
And,
your
like, this talk
Huckleberry.
about
Yeah.
level of inebriation
Hmm.
from that. I think that might be it. But also, like, way back in the day, in like England and tons of places, water wasn't safe to drink, and so all day, every day, the serfs or peons or whatever, they were drinking like super weak but still alcoholic beer. So like 2% beer all day, every day. Can you imagine how just sick everyone felt all the time? And they
Sure,
didn't know
I went
any
to
better.
college.
They're like, how's the morning treating you? Same as every other one. Oh my god! I swear. Like,
Oh, hang on, I got diarrhea. Diarrhea again.
Uh,
Well, that's like on the pirate ships.
I
That's
guess
what
at
grog
the time
is.
it'd be good because. Is that what grog is?
Yeah,
Just
it's
weak
rum.
beer.
It's
I didn't know
rum-
that.
It's rum diluted into their big barrels of water to keep the the evil out.
Oh, can you imagine how horrible that would taste? Just rummy water, and you've been helping row on a ship all day, and you just want like a nice iced tea, and you get warm from a barrel rummy water. Ugh.
I keep saying it, like there's fuck those time machines that go that way. You only want to go this way. Like you do not want to go back in time to anywhere. It was
And
was
let's go
always
forward in
worse.
small increments,
Oh,
just
for
to be
sure.
safe. I'm not jumping 400 years ahead, because that's enough time for everything to have gone to shit and just show up in a barren wasteland.
Ooh.
Like what year would you go to? Your
I
first-
I think I think I'd want to go like 10 years. 10-year increments or something like that. Like jump 10 years and kind of hop out for a day, look around, see what's up, maybe make some investments. Go 10 more years, 10 more years. Ah, shit, the S&P no longer exists. I guess that's gone.
fucking
my
Woody
Kruger
sent me in the
ant.
wrong
I don't
direction.
understand what's your strategy?
Let me go back
You're gonna,
10 years.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
maybe.
your strategy. You show up 10 years in the future, hang out for one day, make some investments based on your new understanding of the world, and then you go forward 10 years and you go, it didn't pan out.
Why don't I go back 10 years and see what's good, and then make some investments, and then hand it to your future self? I don't know.
Just wait till you get back. Just hold off on the investment until you get back in the present. But you'd go 10 years in the future?
Yeah, maybe
Start-
10-year increments. 10-year increments. I feel like that's safe, and you're not going to be, because my fear is this: that you're going to go so far into the future that you're going to like be immediately spotted as like some kind of weird individual, right?
Hmm.
Like I don't know. Like if a guy from 2007 showed up today, he'd fit right the fuck in. But if a guy from like 1970 showed up today with like one of those mullet mustache combos or something and a white snake jacket or whatever they wore back then,
That's
like,
great.
What's that piece of glass you're holding in your hand? Looks pretty groovy. Yeah.
I'm going a step further. Like you go 300 years forward, they'll be like, look at this idiot with two biological eyes, biological ears. Like, he doesn't
Yeah.
fit. What a freak.
yeah, you
Or
never
like
know.
everybody's 8 feet tall and gorgeous because they've been like perfected, and you're like, God
Yeah.
damn it! Like,
Eugenics is when they like. I don't know what eugenics is, but it's when they like breed people to make them better, right? Why is this so
yeah, when
bad?
it's like that and removing undesirables from your population. So that's
Off the
why
top of
Hitler
my
like had crippled
head-
people killed.
Off the top of my head, eugenics is the theory or the idea that you could breed sort of a master race by getting rid of certain genetic traits and using the ones that were more preferable. It seems like very akin to like sort of a master race type Caucasian white racist.
Well, now,
Sure.
first of
Yeah.
all, I misspelled
Could be
eugenics,
wrong.
so I might not make the cut on this. This could be an issue.
You'll have failed the first time.
The science of improving a human population by controlled breeding to increase the occurrence of desirable, heritable characteristics. heritable as opposed to inheritable. Okay. Developed largely by Francis Galton, a method of improving the human race. It fell into disfavor after the perversion of its doctrines by the Nazis. Aha. So this is one of those scenarios where you can claim, like, I'm so hipster, I like eugenics before it was perverted by the Nazis. Yeah, I don't know. I guess in my head, I wasn't thinking of it so much as culling the bad as it was like, I don't know, like CRISPR or remember we were talking about PRP, like platelet replacement therapy, where they like take it out of your arm, spin it in a medical machine of some sort, and put it back better.
Yeah.
In my head, you just do that to the sperm or the egg or something, and now you're assured a good one. You know, now you're going to get like a perfect child. I don't see the evil.
The evil would be how much it costs to do that, and if by doing that you create two classes of human being that never existed before, the haves and the have-nots.
So you're going to hold back the haves.
Yes,
that's anti-capitalism.
No, that's anti-race war.
No, you are a genetic socialist. It's, you know, like, oh, we should all be equal.
We should all be equal. We're not.
We should all have the same number of chromosomes, and these Down syndrome fucks are hoarding them.
I think we're going to run into it, and that's something that's definitely going to happen. I would bet money on it, but I would be dead long before it even matters. I think that we're going to get, if you've seen the movie Gattaca, I think that's a strong prediction of what we're going to get in the future, where you're going to have this group of people who have the money to make sure that their child is going to be 6'1", blonde hair, blue eyes, you know, muscular. You'll never get diabetes. You'll never get any disease. And you might think, oh, well, those are good things, you know, no diabetes, no disease. But that alone, like makes this person more financially viable in the future, a better hire for a company. You know, oh, well, you don't even your health care is going to be very cheap, Mr. Anderson. It says right here, you can never get sick. Excellent. And then Mr. Rogers is over there. It's like, well, I believe you have several genetic predispositions for this and that. No way we're hiring you. It creates a system of haves and have-nots that's just not fair.
I still find it similar to capitalism, right? Like there's a part of me that let's pretend Jews were this master race, somehow breeded, right? You know, to be smarter and better than the rest of us. Yeah, they've done a lot for medicine and science on the planet. Like the world has advanced more than it would have otherwise if it wasn't for the Jewish race. Whether that's because they're genetically superior or culturally superior or something, but they're performing well.
It's because Jews of European descent, Ashkenazi Jews, actually do, as a population, perform higher on IQ tests than any other group of people or race. Like there's all these conspiracies like, oh, the Jews, and they're out there doing this and doing that. And it's like, do you ever consider like maybe they're disproportionately misrepresented in these high level fields because as a whole, their IQ distribution is significantly higher. Like their bell curve is closer to like 115 than 100. Like that's a big deal. Like,
they didn't pay for it. They didn't pay for it. There was no part where, and that's the difference. Like all men are created equal, right? But until we start tampering with the way these men are created, and you're literally creating another species and a super race of human beings with money, and it creates a cycle where you cannot dig yourself out of it.
Couple generations of that superhuman race, and the world will be so much better. Everybody gets it.
No, but you would never breed with one of those people below you.
You don't have to breed. It can be done by machine, right? You can take the best of that couple. You know, like I'm not saying that I see where you're headed. There's a separate race and they almost naturally become better. Nah, I'm just thinking people fall in love with who they fall in love with. That's likely to be the case. And then, like, I am sure that of the, trillions of sperm that I've produced over my lifetime, there was an Einstein in there. One, right? We get that one, the best one that I make, and combine it with the best one that she makes, and we have wonderful kids.
But that's not what it is, though.
It can be.
It can be, and that's okay. I'm fine with that because that is just maximizing your the potential that you already have, rather than tampering with the genetic code of a what do you call that little thing that we usually kill and suck out with a vacuum? A
fetus.
Fetus. Yeah.
We'd be good at
Oh.
charades, Kyle.
Oh, a baby.
Yeah, that thing.
I mean, the founder of Planned Parenthood, or one of the founders, Margaret Sanger, she was a eugenicist.
Huh. I don't know if we want to save it for the big show or
Eugenist?
whatever. Did you see the PewDiePie controversy?
I saw something about it, and it just didn't pull me in, so I didn't look into it. What is
I
it?
saw it. He dropped an N-bomb while playing PUBG. He was like in a gunfight with a guy, and his teammate was downed, and the guy he was in the gunfight with ran out into the danger zone just to like finish off his teammate. And he got mad about that. It's a little bit of a gaming faux pas in some ways, but in any case, he got mad about that. Called him an N-word.
I think he said, yeah, I think he said he was being an N-word or he was playing like an N-word, like something. I think he said he was being an N-word.
What a
N-bomb.
what a nigger. He is a nigger. Something like that.
Something like that. And it was a very clear
He
hard
hit
R.
R.
Yeah,
he hit that R
nailed it.
hard.
Yeah, and I saw his apology video. Did you see that?
I did.
It was
Made an apology video
he
already?
did. Oh well,
It was on the.
he's a pretty big guy. This is practically Mel Gibson in the back
Yeah.
of the police car, at this point. And his apology video, I thought was perfect. Like there's no room for improvement over it. And now it's getting harder. This being his second or third time, and in my head, I'm like, but this is the first real one. The one where he was like, yeah, talking whatever. They freeze frame it to the Nazi salute and say, look at this as one of the things that PewDiePie did. I'm trying to remember. I don't know. It just seems like a lot of the times when they nail PewDiePie to the wall, it's completely unfair. That's not the case this time. This time, he did that. And he made a quick reference to gaming culture. He's like, I'm embarrassed. It's a part of gaming culture that I don't want to contribute to, that, I'm embarrassed that I was in. And, yeah, he's maybe right. That's a thing. Like I think I've heard that word more on Xbox Live than I have in real life.
Oh, it's not even close.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even a competition.
Right? Like I don't know really anyone. It's not in my everyday vocabulary. It's not around the people I know.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
In real life, I don't hear people say that.
In off-roading, I did. There were people in off-roading who sometimes did, who felt like this was a safe space and would drop that. But in my real life, like my regular, like none of my friends do. None of my online friends do. But in gaming, people do sometimes. And yeah, so his apology was perfect in every way, I thought. Yeah. Kyle, did you want to say something? I don't know. That's it. Yeah. So we'll see how bad this gets. The big problem is, I don't know if it's his second or third time facing PewDiePie's a bad guy allegations.
It's like I think he may have said something about the Jews a long time ago or something like that. People didn't like or something.
He paid someone to hold the signs, right, for $5.
Oh, that's hilarious, though. Yeah,
It is.
They just make up shit to fuck. Look, this will benefit him if anything. He's getting the people who like him already. None of them are getting it. This is that thing where someone else is getting offended for someone else. Like I seriously doubt there's any black person out there who saw this and says, oh, he clearly doesn't like my race. No, he clearly doesn't like that guy over there who killed his teammate. And that's totally what this is. I guarantee.
What did happen?
Gain subs.
So I like PewDiePie typically, but I did hear him like, dude, if I were to get really upset in a gaming scenario, I'd probably say F you, but it wouldn't be F, right? There's no world in which I say
Would it be faggot?
no.
Oh, okay.
Faggot you is not even a thing. But there's no world in which I would be like, oh my god, that guy's being such an N-bomb. Like that. And I was like, oh, that's where PewDiePie goes out of frustration. I'm not saying that he thinks it's the master race or all that other junk, but I'm like, oh, he went there. He was mad. He wasn't the best version of himself, but that's where he goes when that happens, or that's where he can go. Like
I go cunt. It is my anger response word.
Yeah,
like
it's hard to
if
say the
If I
N-word.
get cut off in, well, number one, if I want an angry response word, I want one
One
syllable.
syllable.
Yes, I want, and so if they merge, exactly, I see you. Yeah. So if somebody cuts me off, I just like cunt, you fucking cunt, and just get mad,
Yeah.
like, and then you feel better. Whereas if I just said like you're a real dick, like it wouldn't get it out,
I-
you know, or you're a douche, like
It's
wouldn't
funny.
quite do it.
Yeah, I will say F you, you know, in my head or out loud if that's where I'm frustrated. Cunt. Not that I never use the word, but it's usually more calculated. Like, I want a bad one for this. You know? What's the worst one I know?
Yeah,
Yes.
I usually use cunt as a direct insult, especially if it's a woman. I've called women cunt to their face before, and it hits the sweet spot.
That's the one you want, right?
They're not ready for it. It's like dropping an N-bomb to a black person. They're like, whoa! They're a little taken back by it, like, because it's a very hurtful word. That's as far as we can go. And so when you call a woman a cunt, and especially if you like add something before that to describe what kind of cunt they are, you stupid cunt, you dumb cunt, you motherfucking cunt. Like it hits them hard. Almost,
Wow.
you wanted to hit them. You wanted to hit them, but calling them a cunt was almost as good.
I've used cunt
Yeah.
before, but I didn't even realize the amplifiers, and to hear him say it, he's right.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's so much more intense because, like, let me see if I can do this right. The way they did those word questions on like the SATs, where it's like, bitch is to cunt as homo is to faggot.
Well, nicely done. Yeah, I see
Thank
where
you.
you're going there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like
I excel
and
with
that's
those.
just to show the chasm of difference between bitch and cunt as far as an insulting word. Because you hear, I use bitch to make fun of guy friends way more than like I don't like if a girl is being a bitch, you'll be like, oh, go being a bitch, but like you don't even do that as much because it comes off as more malicious. You'll pick a different word for
Yeah.
that just so you're not, so I'm not being too cunty. But I use bitch more on guy friends,
The
and
thing
bitch
I-
is just a funny word.
The thing about bitch is every so often there's a woman who goes bonkers at it, right? Like if you were to call me a dick, like whatever, I don't know, like, oh, really? What I do? I didn't mean that. But there are some women who hear bitch and just go off the rails with it. So I don't use it casually. It's like shooting
I-
guns into the air. You don't know.
I hear-
Every so often it could go terribly wrong.
Oh, did you see that the Floridians did it? They shot their guns at that hurricane enough that they sent it off to the west and they
Ye-
saved West Palm and they saved Palm
Yeah.
Beach.
They're like, we're going
I-
to California. There's no guns there.
That's yeah. Hooray, Florida. I had no idea. I didn't think it would work. I was with all the government officials naysaying it. But there we go.
You can't shoot that hurricane away. Well, you're gonna watch me try. They just keep
Dude,
shooting at it.
Irma was huge. Like
It was real big.
yeah, people like it. So I don't know how bad the damage is. Let me do a
Keys-
flip back to the damage in just a second. I heard one every four
Okay.
houses in the Keys. But in terms of size, it was like the second or third biggest hurricane that we've ever had, like in terms of square miles.
Did you perhaps see the graphic of by the way, Hurricane Sandy, I didn't know, but it was fucking colossal.
Yeah.
I think Sandy was much bigger than Irma.
It was. It's second biggest ever, I think, Sandy.
Yeah, and then there's like a typhoon.
Some cyclone
like,
or something. Yeah.
Typhoon cunt was like the biggest thing of all time.
It would be. In my frustration with the damage is here's what happens. You get a news crew that rolls into like, I don't know, 600 miles from where the real damage is, but they find that a palm tree blew over, and they might vandalize a street sign them on their own, and they frame the shot so well, or they'll find some flooding, right? Now, mind you, this flooding is like 4 inches deep, but they lower the cameras and make it seem like it's going out forever. You can't really tell that it's 4 inches deep.
It's a
and-
wet parking lot, but it
yeah, exactly. Right? There's like people in boats. Like and there's news crews like, yeah, there's people in boats. We're dying out here. And then somebody walks through the shin deep water, like next to the boat, and
Yeah, man.
that hurricane
Fake
coverage
news.
is so misleading. It's like,
Well,
don't,
look, you can't blame them. They trucked out like their 3 big hitters down there. Anderson Cooper's down there, Jake Tapper's down there, and whoever that other person is. They're all down there on like one of them's in Tampa, one's in Jacksonville, one of them's in the Keys. And like, we won't be here much longer. What I saw on CNN earlier was that they said 90% of the homes in the Keys were destroyed.
Oh,
It's what they were showing, and it looked
could
like
it have been damaged? Because then the 1 in 4 destroyed
it
number
could
would
have
still
been.
make sense.
It could have
Yeah.
been. And then I saw one of the female reporters, very attractive young lady, was at a trailer park, and it was like, what'd you expect? What'd you expect?
Yeah.
Right? Like it's a trailer in Florida. It's gonna get destroyed.
Well, that's what
I
they were
didn't
looking
think-
for. They were looking for the most brutal scene they could get, and of course, you go to a trailer park. Like it's going to
I'm-
be thrown all over the place.
I'm all the way up here in Northeast Georgia, and I figured like, we'll get a good dousing of rain that'll probably like drag on for all night, and like we'll get some wind, I guess, but no big deal. The trees were like do it like left and right, look at like crazy. I have massive trees in my backyard that have like come over root and stem. Like this all the way down with like the entire root system sticking up, and that hit another tree, and that tree fucking
It knocked
fell
your
over.
trees down.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm situated in sort of the woods anyway, so like the woods over there where I'm pointing, like that makes a fuck, are all like fucked up. There were limbs and gigantic trees falling all night. I'm gonna have to get out there with a chainsaw tomorrow. My power went out at 7:30 p.m. last night and did not come back on until noon today. And man, I just don't know what I would do without electricity. It's a real it's a real tough row to hoe. It is no fun.
We bought a generator.
No.
We would have it easy. I feel dumb, right? We're not going to need it. The big part of the storm has passed, and it was really not noticeable. We have worse days without hurricanes. But at the time, it didn't know. There was a time when the path of it seemed likely to go like kind of North Carolina or South Carolina straight to Raleigh. Like that was one of the intended paths. And I look, I'm stupid, but I was like, there's that. And then we had a cooler summer, and I thought maybe the winter we'd have more snow and ice. And in this area of the country, they don't do a very good job at all of keeping the tree limbs away from the wires. So every time you get snow and ice, you get power outages that last for a while. So I was like, let's get it. Let's have it in stock. And now I feel silly. I don't know.
No, I don't think you're silly at all. Like that. That's
I will
the
be
sound of-
vindicated at some point.
Yeah, at some point you will be thankful you purchased it.
Yeah, man. I guarantee like this winter your power is going to go off, and maybe it's 10 minutes, maybe it's two days, but like it's going to be real refreshing to go out there, start that thing up, and then have internet and fucking Fox News or whatever you guys watch
Heat.
over there rolling.
You got
Yeah,
Netflix,
heat.
Yeah.
microwaves.
I would rather
yeah.
have entertainment than heat. See, I can always bundle up.
I'm
but
with you.
I'm sitting there entertaining myself, like counting my knuckles, and I get to 10 times, and then there's nothing else to fucking do.
Did you consider like some pitch black working out? Get tired, so you then
No,
you go to
and
bed.
I'll tell you why.
Swing that kettlebell around in the dark.
I didn't work out, and I'll tell you why. I was
Water.
like, I considered it, and I was like, what happens when I get super fucking sweaty and then I have to take a shower? Do I really want to take an ice cold shower tonight? And the answer is no. So I did the opposite. I made sure that I didn't get hot, that I didn't get sweaty at any point during this thing, because the last thing that I wanted to do was take another cold shower.
So
They are one of my least favorite things on earth.
do you have
It's been a
an
horrible
electric
mood.
water heater?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Everything-
Then you're right.
Yeah, no gas here.
So we
everything-
have a water pump, so we would have no water. But in theory, if we did, we've got propane water heater. So now we would have hot water.
I have city water, so I always have the water, but electric water heater, and so yeah, when the electricity goes out, there is nothing. And I have for some reason a while back I bought some 10-hour storm candles off Amazon. It was one of those late night. All right, what the fuck? Kind of like they're like $3 for 10. So like yeah, they last 10 hours each. Like this is a long power outage we're preparing for. So I had those candles, and then Kitty has these. They're round lights with like a bunch of LEDs crammed in them, and the remote control. And there's like 4 of them, so you can like just stick these things around your room, and they're multicolored. So I'm in here like that's how I was entertaining myself last night. I'm like, this one's blue, this one's red, this one's yellow, this one's green. She comes in, she's like, what the hell? It's not Christmas in here.
My entertainment options are limited. I'll work
Yeah,
over
were you
here.
doing
So
that
I was
thing?
thinking this. Kyle has city quality water and rural quality internet, and I have the inverse. I have like rural like water pump and a septic, but I have city quality like gigabit Ethernet. Which one would you pick?
I would take the I would take the
think
internet
rural
because
water,
I think
the
so,
internet,
too.
It's
I'd
faster.
take the internet because like in an emergency, like I would fill the bathtub with water or something. So there's like,
Isn't
yeah,
it
we'll just-
interesting? We
That's
all
disgusting.
value internet speeds over
Yeah.
water. at
because
this
you use
point.
it so much. Because like you use it so much, and like when you run out of water, it's easy to get some more. Like they just sell it everywhere. If I could go to the internet store and get myself a big bushel of internet and bring it home, I mean,
Yeah,
I
you can
could-
download Wikipedia.
no, internet speed. It's the internet.
I know,
speed.
I know. I just
Yeah, yeah.
look. I'm trying to work with you here.
The real
Kyle,
question.
when you were doing it last night when you lost power and everything, I assume you had your phone, and hopefully it was at 100%.
No.
It's never at 100% when you need it to
No.
be.
No.
So were you on like the lowest battery saving mode, like browsing the internet, like watching YouTube videos? Like, I mean, if if the power comes back on in 4 hours, then it'll only have been 3 hours since it died, and I won't have tried to kill myself yet. Yeah.
I'll tell you what I did. It's so depressing. It's so depressing. So like Kitty was thinking ahead. She was charging up little power banks and stuff, or at least she thought she was, but it wasn't plugged into the goddamn wall.
So
She's
she
got
wasn't
the-
thinking ahead.
Yeah, she's got like all of her things there, and she's plugging the plug into the charger, but the other end isn't plugged into the wall. Little did she know. And it was like this thing. So today she was like, "Aha, Excalibur," and it's like nothing.
It's a metaphor for basic income, right? Or, the universal income, where everybody gets some, but there's really no generator because we all expect it for free. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
carry on.
There's always the car. There's always the car to go to and use a car charger to
Uh-huh.
get your power that way, of course. But nobody wants to do that. So what I did, of course, is I looked at my phone when the power went out. And it went off first for like a minute, and I was like, and then it came back on, and I was like, we're out of the woods. We're good. And I even went into the kitchen, and I'm like, I start like washing baked potatoes because I'm like getting the oven preheated. I'm like,
So you were
gotta get-
very confident.
I'm getting my steaks out.
The
letting them
power
get
is
room
flickering, so we're good now.
Well, I was thinking like, let's get this cooking process going.
Okay,
Maybe it goes off later tonight or whatever. And I gotta eat. So like, no, the power, everything goes dark, and I got a potato in my hand, and so yeah, I put my phone on the power saving mode. But like the extreme power saving mode is like black and white screen. And it can't even access the internet anymore. It only calls people. And I was like, all right, well, not that conservative.
Yeah, that's not
let's
even
back.
fun.
Yeah, that's absurd. Like
I've done that with my phone, where like I set it to because I know I have similar phone to you, where I set it to the highest saving mode, and it does like that little dial where it's like do 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 do, and it shows how much more time you saved. And I did it to that version, not knowing what it was, and it was like turning off internet accessibility, turning off texting, turning off SMS, turning off all apps, and it's like your phone will not be dead for 5.2 days. And I was like, but what am I going to do with it? 5.2 days. Just like, hey guys, no, I just thought I'd call. Just wanted to chat. How's the hurricane treating you? Yes.
Hey, Mom.
Yeah.
Just set it to Tinder only. Like that's all.
Yes.
That's all I want you to do now.
Are you
just,
like-
I could just
I just dawned on me. The thought: are your parents the only ones who enjoy voice calls left in your life at this point?
no, they don't even do that. Both of my
Oh.
parents text. Yeah,
I prefer voice calls to get shit organized, as long as it's not like a group text, because group text is more convenient if you're with a lot of people. But even then, you're really banking on people reading the message and getting back to you.
It
But
depends who
with
you're
a phone
texting.
call,
If I'm texting with intelligent people who can like think 2 steps ahead and anticipate the needs of others, then like, perceptive people. If I'm texting with them, then I feel like they can. If I'm going to pick Chiz up, I'm like, hey, we'll be there. We're 2 blocks away. I'm going to honk the horn twice when I get there. It's a red car. I'm giving him all the possible information that he could want. I'm not just like, be there in a minute. Because then he's going to be like, well, then he has questions. I anticipate the questions and I fill them out. But if I'm dealing with a dum-dum, then yeah, I definitely want to call. And like I said the other day, like the only person that I've had a phone conversation with, and I don't even know how long, was that crazy fucking girl that I was dealing with. And when she called, like when the phone rang, I was instantly in a bad mood. I'm angry at you already. I'm like, this ain't gonna go well for you.
just because she was calling, or because of who it
Just
was?
because she was calling my phone. Because I was like, I like you so much less now that you've rang my phone. Like this is fucking high school, and I'm attached to the wall or something like that, or got the cords or whatever. Like this is, and I'm just like, hey, what's up? Are you dying? Are you on fire? Did text messaging suddenly stop being a thing? I didn't say those things, but it's going through my
You're
brain.
thinking it.
Yeah.
How do you even end a phone call at this? Like,
I'll tell you how I ended it.
Bye.
She was rambling on, and I said, I've had enough of this.
okay. So that's not the advice I'm looking for.
That's very rude.
So a friend of mine got into a paramotor accident recently. He landed in the water. He's fine, but it was extreme to look at. And if it wasn't water, oh my God, something bad would have happened. And he's like, I'll tell you all about it, like the post story, the trip to the hospital, the whole 9 yards. And he wants to do a video chat with me. Okay, cool. So we do, and he lays it all out there, and it takes like 20, 30 minutes, and it was great. But the call was 90 minutes. The other hour was just, I didn't know how to get off the phone. At some point, I was like, all right, let me let you go.
Phrase. Oh, that's the phrase.
Really? Yeah, I was like, let me let you go. And he seemed like sad. And he had like one more thing to say that stretched into many minutes, 20, 30 more minutes. And at some point I was like, let me let you go. And he seemed sad. And I was like, I have to go to the bathroom, which was true. And he's like, all right, we'll wrap it here. And that's how it wrapped. But I don't want to I don't want my bladder capacity to necessarily do I have to keep talking until I can't stay any longer? I don't know what the scoop is, but it's hard to get off the phone.
It is, but
I don't have a lot of
you can take 3 minutes on the phone and solve a conversation or problem that would take you 45 minutes or an hour on text because they're not responding right away. You don't always notice. I don't know. If I'm trying to get something organized, calling is always the option I go for.
100%. Depending on the problem space too. But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of back and forth. That's another. So look, I love working from home as much as the next guy. I like working from home because whatever time you're not spent working, you're spending doing your favorite shit, right? But when everyone's in the office together, there's 100 little micro communications and quick questions that make a productive workforce. I wonder if it's going to swing back the other way, and people will realize oh yeah, you know what? Turns out when everyone's spread across the country, they don't work together quite as well.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope phone calls come back.
No,
really?
I was talking to Chiz about cell phones today, and I was like, they should just make one that doesn't even call people anymore. Maybe that's the future. Imagine if you removed the whole calling voice shit from the phone. How much lighter, thinner, crazier could it be? Could you add some other feature in that would replace that entirely? I see I want holograms. I want to fucking take this thing and sit it down, and I want it to project a holographic keyboard toward me that I can interface with, and it's tracking my fingers as I type on a full-sized hologram keyboard. I want that thing to pop up with Obi-Wan Kenobi on it and have him tell me a story, like an 8-inch tall, blue glowing, and the phone is emitting some sort of vapor that the pixels are bouncing off of or whatever. Get rid of the talkie talk, because I don't use it. And I know that maybe you guys want the talkie talk, but I don't. I
definitely need the talkie talk as an option.
It'd be such a great excuse. If somebody tried to call you, be like, your hologram comes up, and be like, sorry, Obi-Wan, I don't have voice on this phone, and it just sends them a hologram that tells them that, like that.
Oh yeah,
that would be my preference. I hate it so much when people fucking call me.
Call me, Obi-Wan. It's your only hope.
Yeah. I'd be down for that.
Wait,
yeah,
you can't call. I don't know. That's actually the opposite of what we're looking for, but
yeah, send me a holo chat, bro. I don't have talk.
No, she says that something, Luke, you're our only hope in the movie, but I'm messing it up.
Those trash movies.
The PKA subreddit had at me for comparing Rogue One to Fury. Apparently, that's not good. And one guy said I was some kind of special stupid for not knowing that all the characters would die in advance because they said they were going to. But he was wrong. Harley
I
was
don't
right.
think that's not how I felt about it, because you not knowing that simply says that
I was right. They don't say that. that thing that people are talking about. Okay, first of all, they don't say people.
Wait, are you talking about the Star Wars movie right now?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So Star Wars came out with a movie called Rogue One. That's the plans of how they get the. I'm sorry. It's the movie of how they get the plans for the original Death Star. There are lots of misinformed people who think that they say, "Hey, a lot of people died to get these plans." Those people are wrong. What actually they say is a lot of Bothans died to get these plans. Bothans are another species, and they are referring to the plans for the second Death Star, that incomplete one, not the first. If you watch the briefing, and I linked it in my response to this gentleman, they do not mention at all the difficulties of getting the plans for the first Death Star. And the fact that he called me, I think, a special kind of stupid, I was like, oh, well, he's incorrect on this. So I had links and videos to illustrate my point, and yeah, I guess it's like I don't like that he apologized and was very nice about it, and he said that he had some sort of mental disability that makes him overreact to things. I forget the details of it. So really, the guy's got his own challenges, but I was like, a special kind of stupid. I'm not even wrong. So I I laid it all out there.
Trying to figure out what a Bothan is. It appears to be like a lion person, in which case, like, who cares? These aren't people.
You're exactly right. It's some sort of lion person, lynx person type thing. And I guess those are the guys who got the plans for the second Death Star.
Oh, okay.
But
you gonna autoplay a video about Bothans? Jesus Christ! I don't care this much. Like,
Yeah.
I
how
hate
many
autoplay
of my
videos.
internet searches and delving into things end with an autoplay video where I'll just be looking something up and I'm like, man, I wonder what kind of snake only eats other snakes, like, other than the king snake. Yeah, and
Are there
like,
more?
I'll look it up and then I'll see like. In South Africa, many and it's like, no, I don't care. I don't care anymore. You've ruined my love. My interest was peaked, and now it has been dashed because you are being sneaky.
one exception for autoplays, if I want to know about a sports game. It's the only time that like automatically breaking into like highlight plays is ever welcome. If it's news, if it's information, education, entertainment, all those other things, I don't like autoplay unless it's YouTube.
I don't mind autoplay if the audio is off. If they make you manually turn the audio on, I don't mind.
I'll accept
but
that.
If you just click on a news story link and they start, like, a little lady in the corner starts talking about a totally different news story, trying to bait you into that, it's like, how little respect do you have for me as a viewer? See you later, fucking Huffington Post or whatever.
CNN?
Or, like, CNN.
Does CNN do that?
CNN
Get rid of it.
Yeah, it puts
They
this
all
little
do it.
box in the bottom right. And here's the fucking shitty thing that they do. Like I'm a little irked when any site starts auto playing anything with audio. But the thing that CNN does is they wait like a solid 5 seconds. Like, you're already finding the article you're interested in and like looking into it, and then it starts playing, and you can't find it.
Is the
you're
video
like,
related though?
No,
Oh,
no, it'll
that's the
start
worst.
playing. It's playing like the news of the day or some shit, like some random thing. Like, it's letting you know Ted Cruz liked a porno or something. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how that's news. Like
I'm saving that for PKA, but yeah, there's some MMA websites I go to where like it'll be like, oh, whatever, John Bones busted for steroids again, and then some like autoplay thing comes on against about completely different fighters, completely unrelated stories, and I'm like, that's just a distraction from what I'm interested in. It's
Yeah.
I hope that that's a trend that ends.
UFC 217 should be good. I really want to see
really?
Garbrandt and Dillashaw fight. And I think Thug Rose is fighting that I can't pronounce her
The
goddamn
champ,
name.
that Joanna Champion is the name. That's what they call her for people who can't pronounce it.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, her last name is.
We'll see if that name stays.
Oh, it's well online. It's like it's more common than her name is Joanna Jurjacek or something very close to that.
Yeah, I can. It's really simple to pronounce, but when you look at it, she should spell it phonetically because it's easy to say.
Yeah.
But when you look at it, you're like, fuck.
She's
Yeah, like those Polish names.
she is Polish, and it's she's.
I think it's just Jacek. It's like as simple as that, but it's like when you read it, it's outrageous. But what I'm saying is, like, if Thug Rose kicks her ass, then she's not the champ anymore.
Yeah. Thug Rose will get her second title shot, which is a sketchy thing because it's hard to get 3 unless you're Uriah Faber.
Yeah, I saw there's this clip. It's like most awkward UFC like crowd moments or whatever. You know how when there's a UFC event, they'll put the camera on like famous people who are in the audience, and I don't remember exactly who it was, but I think it's like Ronda Rousey, another famous person, and Thug Rose are sitting there, and the camera's on all three of them, but they don't know who Thug Rose is, so they don't even mention her. But but Thug Rose can of course not hear the broadcast. So the thing that she does is completely unrelated to the fact that they didn't know her name. She's like staring at the camera, completely like dead faced for like a solid 10 seconds, and it's bizarre. It's really funny when you see it.
Is she
I
still
like
with
her.
Pat Barry?
I have no idea. She's got that shaved head now, which is sick.
Yeah, her husband got into drugs. What is it people take before heroin? Opiates? I don't know my drugs that well.
Yeah,
but
like pills, like opiate pills, like
He-
painkillers.
he got
Yeah.
into that. He did a video about it. This isn't me guessing. And,
Painkillers.
Yeah, painkillers. I'll go with that. And he was describing like doctors would prescribe it for him, and he would just take them all. He's like, that's just how I'm wired. The more the merrier. Like, I'm about all the everything. I'm extreme. I'm head first into all the things I do. And if you know Pat Barry at all, he's so energetic and enthusiastic and funny and great. And you're like you can see why he became a world-class athlete. You can see why he got into this, and why like everything he does is hyper dive, 100% full speed, run. And you're like, oh my God, he pointed that at drugs. Oh my gosh, I can see why it went so poorly for him.
Yeah,
So-
and especially opiates. You build up a I can't think of the times when like I've been prescribed them, because I don't like how they make me feel. Make me feel really spacey and out of it. It's an uncomfortable feeling.
Itchy.
Itchy too. Yeah, that's the main side effect I hate. Now that I think about it, the itchiness is just I can't deal with that. It's fucking.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I took I don't know what that stuff anti-itch cream is. Like an antihistamine cream. But last time I was on those, I was rubbing it everywhere and like getting it in deep to try to like get the itch to go away, because it's a ferocious itch. I never take all my painkillers. I can't imagine getting addicted to those. I think the thing is though that after you've been using them for a while, those side effects all go away. Because I
Yeah.
know people who have like chronic pain and stuff, and like they're like, no, I don't get itchy. I get better.
I mean, most people feel like most people don't get itchy from them. I don't like it.
I had painkillers for my leg and of course I had the surgery Tuesday, and the last one I took was actually on the show on that Thursday, and that's when I stopped. So, yeah.
Well,
Wrap?
that's probably enough for now. We can talk about Ted Cruz's porn habits on PK this week.
Yes, let's not spoil that.
I gotta watch that video. I gotta find that video and watch it. I
Oh
wanna see exactly what-
Kyle, I know you will find it, and so link us.
Yeah, Kyle, if you could,
it's
that'd be
a
a
reality
service.
Kings. It's a reality Kings video. It looked to me like a wife was like discovering her husband with another woman, and being a little shocked at first, but then being like, all right, and just diving right in. It looked like that kind of scenario.
Well, that will be topic number 1.
Do you know the
on
meme
Thursday.
that's oddly popular where like a guy's holding the hand, and they did one of those for Ted Cruz with like
And
his wife.
wife.
Yeah, his wife was like, and he's looking at the porn girl.
Yeah. And his wife, looks like she looks.
I don't think she's terrible. I need to look her up.
Yeah,
She's not a ghoul.
Yeah, she
But-
did.
let's save this topic though. 'Cause this is a
Okay.
fun one.
All right. PKN episode 160.